AP's college basketball poll reaction. What's next for top 25 teams? Sunday's big game lived up to the hype. No, not that big game, the top 5 women's college basketball matchup between Texas and South Carolina. Overwhelmed by 17 points in the team's first meeting last month, the Longhorns won the rematch 66-62, handing the Gamecocks their first regular season SEC loss in 57 games. While Texas never trailed, South Carolina stayed within 5 points over the last 15 minutes of game time. Great atmosphere, Gamecocks coach Donny said. It's great for women's basketball, probably great for TV. Close game, great for our game. It's just unfortunate somebody had to lose. What does it all mean for the AP Top 25? Let's break down the new rankings. Stat to know. Despite scoring a season-low 62 points Sunday against Oregon, UCLA posted its 23rd straight win, the longest active win streak in Division I, and the longest to open a season in program history. Stat to know. Notre Dame won its past 2 games, versus Clemson and Cal, by a combined 88 points. It marked the first time the Irish have won back-to-back games by 35 or more since January 31 and February 3, 2019. What's next? Thursday at Pittsburgh, 8 p.m., ACCN. Stat to know. In Sunday's win over South Carolina, Texas became the first team to win an AP Top 5 matchup without making a three-pointer since UConn went 0 for 9 in a win over Oklahoma in the 2002 National Championship game. What's next? Thursday at 8 Kentucky, 7 p.m., ESPN2. Stat to know. In both of its losses this season, including Sunday at Texas, South Carolina did not hold a single lead. Previously, South Carolina had not had a wire-to-wire loss since the 2019 Sweet 16 against Baylor. Stat to know. In Sunday's win over Tennessee, Kylie Gilbert scored 15 of her game-high 23 points in the third quarter. Gilbert had scored a total of 25 points over the previous 7 games since scoring 22 in the first meeting against the Lady Vols. Stat to know. Kiki Oriafen, Juju Watkins, and Kennedy Smith all had double-doubles against Ohio State on Saturday, the first time a team has had 3 players do that against a top 10 team since Notre Dame did it against UConn in the 2019 Final Four. Stat to know. In UConn's loss at Tennessee on Thursday, the Huskies gave up a season-high 42 points in the paint and shot just 26.7% from outside the paint. Stat to know. Kentucky is second in the country with 6.7 blocks per game, with sophomore Clara Strack, 2.3, leading the way. Stat to know. After entering the week 20-1, Ohio State lost at UCLA and USC by an average of 17 points. What's next? Thursday versus Minnesota, 7:30 p.m., Peacock. Stat to know. NC State's 23-point win at then 22 Florida State was its largest road win over a ranked team since defeating 15 South Carolina 90-65 during the 1989-90 season. Stat to know. TCU rolled over Texas Tech for its 19th straight home win, the longest active streak in the Big 12. Stat to know. North Carolina improved to 7-0 on the road with Sunday's win at Clemson, its best start on the road since going 10-0 during the 2005-06 season. Stat to know. Duke, which leads the ACC in forcing turnovers, pressured Miami into a season-high 28 turnovers and scored 42 points off them in Sunday's 90-49 win. Stat to know. In Saturday's 85-55 loss to Oklahoma State, K-State was outscored 51-20 in first half, with as many turnovers, 7, as made field goals, 7 for 31 shooting. Stat to know: all 6 of Tennessee's losses have been by single digits, with a combined total of 20 points. Stat to know: in Thursday's win over Ole Miss, Peyton Verhulst scored 10 of her game-high 19 points in the fourth quarter, the fourth time she has scored 10 or more points in a quarter this season. Stat to know: after making just 4 of its first 18 shots, Maryland was 26 for 42 to 61.9%. From the field, the rest of the game in rallying from a 15-point deficit to beat Washington 81 to 73. Stat to know: West Virginia opened Saturday's 79 to 51 win over Houston with a 20-0 run, with 13 points coming from J.J. Quinley, who had 16 of her game-high 20 points in the first quarter. Stat to know: Georgia Tech held Boston College to 15 points in the first half of Sunday's 71 to 51 win. Stat to know: Oklahoma State's 30-point win over their No. 12 Kansas State tied for the second largest margin of victory against an AP-ranked opponent in program history. OSU had a 31-point win over Oklahoma in January 2016. Stat to know: on Sunday, Alabama beat Mississippi State by 20 or more points for the first time since the 2013 SEC tournament. Stat to know: Michigan State, which entered Sunday's game against Michigan shooting better than 45% from the field this season, shot a season-low 31.8%, 21 of 66, in a 71 to 61 loss. Stat to know: Thania Latson, the leading scorer in the country, had a career-high 12 assists to go with 27 points in Thursday's 101 to 68 win over Virginia.